and this is why we invested so much and are going to continue doing industry-leading efforts to make sure that no one has to go through the types of things that your families have had to suffer.
Well, it was quite a moment as CEOs from 5 of the biggest tech companies faced sharp questioning from senators yesterday. So what you just heard, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg turning to the families of children lawmakers say were victimized on the company's platform. The focus of the hearing was how to keep children safe on social media. At least 6 social media bills still wait for action in the Senate, and that includes legislation known as the Kids Online Safety Act, which some CEOs declined to support. And joining us for some insight now is Rebecca Clark from The Hill. Rebecca, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So do we know why those companies have been hesitant to put their support behind that legislation?
Right. So I think what we're seeing around the Kids Online Safety Act is really hesitation on 2 sides. So we see a lot of lobbying from the tech companies as well as their industry groups, because the bill would add additional regulations in terms of how they have to operate for minors. And at the same time, we're seeing some organizations that are coming out and saying that the bill could have some unintended consequences and lead to actually, information that LGBTQ youth or other marginalized groups may need to find on the internet because of the state attorney general enforcement.
And what are some more concerns from those LGBTQ plus advocacy groups, because they have voiced many concerns as it relates to the legislation?
Right. So what we're seeing is that a lot of these organizations are saying that while the spirit of the bill is something they agree with in terms of trying to hold these companies accountable to have, certain content that promotes suicidal ideation or self-harm, eating disorders off their platforms, that the bill would enable both the Federal Trade Commission and state attorneys general to sue the companies if they did have that content on it. And their concern is that as the bill is drafted, certain state attorneys general may take that in terms of banning other types of content that the bill may not intend to ban, but may give them the ability to do so. So that's really where a lot of those organizations have landed. The lead sponsors of the bill have said that they've been in discussion with those stakeholders to sort of get this bill to a point where they may be able to get it passed with their support.
And during the hearing yesterday, TikTok was really in the spotlight, especially when it comes to data collection. As we've seen, it's really a common practice for many of these sites. Do we know why TikTok was singled out?
Yeah, it seems like lawmakers are still focusing on TikTok based on the fact that its parent company is based in China. And that's a point that TikTok has really been pushing back on and trying to work with lawmakers to explain what their plan is. And there's been other reporting about that plan. But I think that's also another focus in terms of kid safety as well as overall data privacy rules. Is that something that lawmakers have been trying to push for in terms of having more of these data rules and in terms of how these companies are collecting data on its users, especially minors online.
Okay, Rebecca Clark from The Hill, thank you as always for joining us this afternoon.